But you're
So
in California and now you're even getting old for California standards.
I know, I
Your
know.
girlfriend should thank me for that.
Hey, babies! Welcome to the Dr. Beauty Podcast hosted by me, Dr. Anna Guanche. I'm so excited you're here. We plan to educate, inspire, and entertain you. This podcast is not just about beauty. It's about lifestyle, inspiration, life hacks, and of course, beauty.
Babies, I'm here with Dr. Charles Galanis. He is a plastic surgeon practicing in Beverly Hills. He does amazing body makeovers, body contouring. That's what I see him doing mainly. And he's going to tell you more about himself. But I'm excited to have him on because he's really fun. He does a lot of crazy things that I'm going to be asking him about on the podcast.
You're setting me up. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
I'm setting you up. So my question, my first, but most important question is, why did you copy me and name your dog Apollo?
First of all, I definitely did not know your dog's name was Apollo. That's not. And second, technically, I didn't do the naming. So the story behind my dog is my ex-girlfriend and I got that dog together, and she had a cat named Athena. So she said it would be great if we had another Greek name. And I said, fine, Apollo. I didn't even want that breed. And I got him in the breakup, but now I'm in love. Now I love it, but shit, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, that's how I got Apollo. So I promise it wasn't based off of your naming. How old is your Apollo?
My Apollo is 7.5.
Okay. Well, I guess yours predated mine. Mine's 3.5. Yeah.
He's a trendsetter. So yeah, I'm all into Greek mythology too. I love Greek mythology, and our doggies are completely oddly named. But anyway, we have one Chicken Nugget because he looks like a burnt chicken nugget. He was supposed to be Hermes, but when he came, he was just so silly and had this little birthmark on his forehead. And then our other doggie is Chumba, and Chumba is named after Chumbawamba because I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Oh
That's my thing.
First of all, chicken nugget is way too many syllables for a pet name. It's got to be like one or two.
We just call him Nuggy.
Okay, there you go. See, that always gets shortened. It always gets shortened.
For sure. And then he has 20 other nicknames. Like, I used to call him Lule Kebab because I like kebab, right? Yeah. And then I would call him Lule Kebab, and now I call him Luli or Kebab. So anyway, that's just how it goes.
You have 3, or how many do you have?
3.
3. Okay.
How 3 dogs.
How big is
5
this
chickens.
Let me see this cup. How big is that? Like a camera trick, or is it that big? Oh my god!
Read what it says. Read what it says.
I saw that. I saw it. Where's the leave meeting button again? Let me see where that comes up.
Keep talking. I'm diagnosing you. That's what it says. All right. So your ex-girlfriend. So we want to know, that's one of our main questions. I mean, it was down lower on the little list of things I'm going to be asking you, but we want to know if you're single, Dr. Galanis.
I am dating someone. Yes.
Okay.
So no, I'm not single, I guess is the answer.
So you're not on the market. You're
No,
okay.
I'm not on the market. Not currently on the market.
Okay.
It's weird.
Hearts are breaking.
But the thing is on social media, like I have this thing where, so it's always this weird balance, right, on social media between what we do in personal life and our professional life. Because for me, it's primarily a marketing tool. It's my business. And so the way I look at it is I put on social media the things I would talk to a patient in the room about. Yeah. So, I would tell them about my parents. I would tell them about my dog. I would tell them about I went on a vacations, things like that. But it's weird. So it's always been kind of a nuanced thing for me when you go into like the personal life stuff. And it can come across like secretive, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to like, haven't you ever had like patients that come in and they say things that are like, where they know something about you and you're like, doesn't it like kind of weird you out a little bit, like about your personal life? Or no? I mean, I don't know if it happens as much for you, but
well, honestly, I don't put a lot of my personal life on there either. I don't. Very occasionally I'll put some stuff, but it's the dogs, it's the practice, and some things that I'm thinking about, inspirational things, but not my actual relationships. Like my kids don't want to be on there. My husband, he'll be on there a little bit, but
I've seen your husband on there a few times. You've roped him into some of your videos. I've seen this.
Yes, I'll rope him into my videos, but he's not like, that's not his thing. So I respect that, and I don't try to air out any personal stuff on social media. So I'm probably right where you're at, but The only problem with you is that people might think you're single, because I thought you were single.
I know.
So,
It's whatever. I mean, people will think all kinds of things about me that may or may
that's true.
not be true. So it's kind of like you get to a point on that, and I know you would agree on this, where I think you get to a point in life, and I don't know when that point is, when I become less
Don't
and less
care.
consumed. Yeah, I really don't. I completely run out of what. I just like
F's
whatever.
to give. By the way, we're allowed to cuss on this podcast. We made an executive decision.
I definitely have run out of fucks to give. Like you can't please everyone, and
you can't. I will never believe how floored I am by the comments I get, especially on TikTok.
It's insane. And the thing is too, and it's like, listen, I also have a very dry, sarcastic. My humor is more dry and sarcastic, which oftentimes I get it comes across as very douchey or arrogant or whatever. And if anyone who actually knows me knows I do not take myself that seriously.
Right.
I have the furthest thing from a God complex. Like I'm completely fallible. So it's just funny to me because I will get the occasional like really nasty comment. Trolls actually entertain me. It never bothers me. I find them more than anything, but
I see you hit them back sometimes and it cracks me up.
It's fine. I just have fun with it. I mean, sometimes it goes too far. Like I'll say something back and it starts this firestorm. I'm like, no, I'm not mad. I don't want people to be mad or like my followers jump on something. I'll be like, it's fine. It's fine. Like,
don't get crazy. Yeah, because what I've noticed that people don't mind dishing out a lot of stuff to you, but they don't take it well. They don't expect the doctor to push back in any way, shape, or form. You're just supposed to take it. So once in a blue moon, if I push back on something, I'm like, wow, well, you didn't take that well. You're okay.
And it's really random too. It's like, it'll be like if I happen to see it, like I'm not always seeing them. And, every once in a while, Adele will show me like a DM or something in a lap. But if I happen to see it, and if I'm in the right mood, I will have fun with it. Like I'll make a point of it just to like have a little fun. But it's just, whatever. I love
it when you put together a 10-panel story. I'm over there cheering for you, like, yeah, good for you, stand your ground.
Every once in a while, it's totally unplanned. Like this morning, I kind of got into one about masks, which I never touch. One thing I never really touch on my page. I don't really go into anything controversial.
Politics.
Like politics or anything. And this wasn't even political. It's just something I thought was funny. It was. I don't know if you saw Garcetti's quote about he held his breath, and that's when so apparently Garcetti had a picture. So Garcetti was shown in a picture at the game last weekend, and his mask was off, and he came out on the news today and said, no, but when I take my mask off, I hold my breath.
Wait, are you talking about Newsom?
No,
did Garcetti do it too?
Yeah, Garcetti did it too. Yeah, and Garcetti said, but I hold my breath. And so I was just making a joke, like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, when did holding your breath enter into like the playbook for another way we can combat this? This is amazing. So I just kind of was like, this is just getting ridiculous. But
it just reminds me of when Bill Clinton said, I did not inhale.
100%. And it's like, that was, and it was like ABC, like LA ABC News were the ones that put it up. And there was just the comments were like, I did not inhale. My dog ate the homework. The condom broke, like all of these ridiculous comments underneath. It was so freaking funny. And I'm just like, I want to know who his PR person is, because they probably should leave.
They're dying right now. But I also have the philosophy of not talking politics and not trying to be controversial, because I feel like there's plenty of venues for that. There's plenty of places to find politics 100%. And there's plenty of places where people argue, and even masks are a whole political argument too now.
No, everything is,
everything. So I just leave it like, we're going to talk about fun stuff. We're going to talk about inspirational stuff. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, but not politics, please. Like,
you and I have a very, I think, similar overriding kind of theme in that, like, for the most part, mine is about just living a full life, positivity, funny, just be, keep it light, mix in education and kind of what we do, but not just kind of steering clear of the heavy stuff. Because I agree with you. There's plenty of places to get that. And the problem is, once you stir that pot, it's like you're just inviting some of the negative energy into a space that I don't need that here. I just don't. So whatever.
I was talking to Sheila Nazarian. She's also a plastic surgeon, you guys, and she has really gone into like talking about politics and taking a strong stand. I told her, wow, you're brave. And she's like, why is that brave? Why is it brave just to say what you think? And I'm like, it's brave because it's a
I give her credit for it. Yeah, I think it's courageous for sure. I think the reason you can call it brave is unfortunately we live in a society that punishes it a little bit. And if you look at it from just the standpoint of running a business, like I remember, so I have tattoos, right? And I remember before I got my first tattoo, I remember talking to a doctor about this, and he goes, I'm being honest, because I was always like, oh, with my career, is that something and he's like, if I'm being honest, tattoos can only hurt you. They're not going to help you. That was this particular personality, whether or not that's true. And my thinking is the same on these issues.
And then, he proceeded to give you a tattoo.
Right.
And then he proceeded. Yeah.
Then I proceeded to completely disregard that advice and do whatever the hell I wanted to anyway. But no, I mean, I think that's what I see about controversies. I say, for the most part, it's not going to do me much good. What I found in today's climate is you're not going to change anyone's mind. The people that agree with you already are going to clap, and the people that don't agree with you are just going to hate you more. So there's no point. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. So when I share stuff, I'm revealing maybe a little bit of my personality on things. And it's, and maybe you think this, I think when you do that, when I meet patients in my practice who come through social media, they've already weeded out whether or not they think I'm an asshole. If they were following my feed and they thought I was an asshole, they wouldn't come. So if I can reveal a little bit that gives them an inclination of who I'm like, and they don't like it, great. I'm doing them a service. I'm helping them out too. So it's okay.
It's so true. That's what I say about social media. People can kind of vet your personality, vet your practice. They can vet your aesthetic and even your procedural skills. And they can say, oh, I want to go see her, or I'm never going to go there. And that's fine. That's great, because there's not going to be one doctor that appeals to everyone. And so it's nice if you get, and then the ones that do think that's cool and like that, then they come in, and I'm pretty much exactly what you see is what you get. So if you like that, you're here. And if you don't like that, you're not. And so it's been a nice tool for sort of, letting people vet whether they want to come here or not. And it's nice.
Yeah,
because
I agree. I tell people, I think social media has been a crazy good thing on the patient side of things. I always tell people it's two reasons. One, you get a real-time view what someone does week in and week out.
Yeah.
So if it's someone who's clinically active and they kind of, show you what they're doing week in and week out with it, you get it, because it used to be we had websites and everyone was an expert in everything on their website, and they could have 5 pictures of something that could have been 20 years ago. You don't know.
Right.
But in social media, you can see what they're doing in real time. That's number one. And number two, like you said, you can see if you like their personality. So as long as they're being authentic, I know people, because I know people who I see them on social media and I'm like, I don't recognize that person. I know that person in real life, and they're nothing like the social media persona that's out.
Exactly. So, and what would be the point of that? I don't understand that. I mean, obviously,
I don't know. I think they're trying to portray what they think people would like as opposed to just portray what they are. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. But I will say one thing. My patients are very generous to share their procedure, and I do share a lot of procedures, but it's only a tiny fraction of what we actually do, because we don't have it's awake surgeries and mostly facial work. So we don't get everyone. We don't get a lot of guys. A lot of guys don't want to be on there, and
And I get that too. I think what you do, but I think what you do though is the videos that you make, that you have fun with, you still incorporate educational elements to them. So it's not always about showing the actual procedure or the result. You can make a fun video saying like, hey, when some patients say this and want this, and whatever. And so you're still educating them in a different way when you can't actually use patients themselves. So I get that for sure.
So I keep seeing you jumping out of planes and stuff. What's up with that? Yeah. What's up with you jumping out of planes? So do you have a death wish? Do you not love yourself?
No, this is a big misconception. I do not have a death wish. I will tell you this and I think most skydivers would tell you this. It is not an adrenaline thing. Like, so I started skydiving when I was young, and then I quit for a number of years. No, like it is and I'm not like the spiritual Dalai Lama type, but what I'm saying is like, when I'm skydiving, when I do that when I go to my days where I'm skydiving, my mind is on nothing else. And I know you can relate to this because you're crazy in your own way, but our minds don't stop during the week. I am constantly like, I'm being pulled in 1,000 directions just like you are. And we're constantly going, thinking about the next thing and the next thing, blah, blah. When I go skydiving, I got nothing on my mind. And it's one of the only times my mind is like relaxed. It's just focused on one thing. So for me, it's like a meditative thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the things can be a little bit fun, like helicopter jumps or random, like hot air balloon jumps. Like those can be exciting, but for the most part, it's a sport, and it's also a sport where you're just kind of totally immersed in that moment.
You have to focus.
You do, and you're just not thinking about anything else. It's great. So
yeah,
I know my parents.
That's kind of how I feel when I'm dancing. When I learn a dance routine and I have to focus on what's the next move and the next move, you can't really insert a whole bunch of other things to think about when you're learning, especially or performing a dance. Not that I'm a professional dancer, but it's my hobby. I love dancing, and so it makes me feel like during that moment, I can't worry, I can't fret, I can't, So it's
I don't know what's due, what I'm late on or whatever. And I'm also someone, I'm not a person that likes downtime too much. Like I like doing things a lot. So I just like filling time with activities. And that was one of the things that kind of stuck with me for, I don't know, and still sticks with me. At some point I'll have to quit, but not yet.
I super get you about downtime. I was just listening to an interview with Elon Musk from years ago when he had become very wealthy, and someone said, "Oh, why are you so driven? Why do you keep going? Like, most people that had the amount of money that you have would be laying on the beach somewhere drinking a beer." And Elon said, "That sounds like a life sentence to me. To be honest, I don't want to lay on the beach drinking a beer indefinitely. That sounds horrible." And I thought, that's exactly how I feel, because people tell me all the time, "How come you don't relax? How come you don't relax?" And I'm like, I don't want to. It doesn't make me happy to like lay around, maybe for a day, but not like extended.
And look, I don't listen. People that are happy with that, that's fine. Like to each their own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just have I feel I enjoy experiencing life as much as possible, and as I get older and realize that we're not always going to have the same health, the same bodies to do some of the things we want to do, and so the idea of not doing them seems intolerable to me. And the other thing is, like, I'm not driven. This is going to sound, it's going to sound like such bullshit, but it's true. Like, I'm not really driven by money. Like, I don't know, my manager would laugh at me about this, but she knows it's true. I never know like how much, I don't even know how much surgeries cost, more or less. I don't know what I made last year until I like go to, I have to like, they have to kind of, I could be getting robbed blind by my team and I probably wouldn't know it. But because for me, it was the moment I started using money as an objective in what I did was the start to being miserable, because because if that's the goal, there's no number and you're just going to keep going after this sort of nonsensical target. So for me, it just became the work and the experience of the work and the experience of life. And then when I want to live life, I go to someone and say, "Can I do this? Can I afford this?" I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "Okay, great." And then I go do it. And that's just sort of, and then I talk to a financial advisor and say, "Okay, how much can I spend in a month? Just tell me what I can do. What can I get if I want to get a house?" Things like that. But I don't look at the money as like the objective. And so just kind of what we're talking about is the objective for me is a full life. Whether it's your dancing, whether it's making videos, whatever it is that kind of drives you and gives you some happiness, that's my objective. It's not the money.
Exactly. In fact, when I started my practice, it's been a while now, but the first 2 years, I just freaked out. Like, I had to take out loans. I was not sleeping at night. I would be up all night writing. I wrote every page of my website. I did everything myself. Everyone that came in, I was thinking like, "Oh, this is how much it costs, and this is how much I need to make to pay rent. This is how much I need." And it was, unfortunately, during that time, which was one of the worst times in my practice, was that I was thinking about money. Like, how much is it? Oh, you want to touch up, but like, how much does Botox cost? And ironically, and like life always does to you, when you have plenty is when you get the free Botox vials. And when you're injecting hundreds of vials a month and you get free stuff. Well, I didn't get any free stuff back then because I was starting out, and I would stress out about it. And one day I completely shifted to focusing on excellence, just focusing on my patients, their results. How happy do I feel when I'm with my patient and fulfilled by this procedure? How good can I make it? How perfect? And then everything came together. It's so like you make way more money when that's what you focus on. It just rolls in. Like,
it's crazy to hear you say that, because my experience was so similar. I was in practice in Chicago and I had to buy out of my contract there. And when I decided to move back to LA, I had no money. I was sleeping on a friend's couch when I came out here. And the day before, I had found a space I could rent. And the day before, the bank called and said, "We can't give you a loan. We thought you were buying equipment with the loan. We didn't think you just needed money." I'm like, shit. So I like had to scramble to find a way. And I was freaking out. And there was a moment, and I don't know when that switch hit, where I just I stopped thinking about it. And I just started thinking about, what can I do today? That's all I started thinking about. I was like, whatever I got to pay at the end of the month, I'll do it. What can I do today to whether it's answering questions on Real Self or doing all the whatever stuff you could do when you're starting out. And I remember just every patient that came in, I'd be like, did they book? Did they book? You know what I mean? It was like that. Yes. That was how it was initially. And then, when that switch occurred and I started focusing on what can I do today? And like you said, focusing on my patients and on my work, everything else took care of itself. And you're right. Listen, it's easy to sit here now that we have money and we're doing well and say, but the reality is this was the mentality I had when I didn't. When I literally was this is no bullshit. I thought I was going to drive Uber when I came back to LA just to like help when I first started.
To make extra money.
Swear to God, I was going to be a bartender. And I told my parents I was thinking of bartending. They're like, you're going to be a plastic surgeon who bartends? I'm like, Mom, I don't hear it. But like, I was thinking about that. And it was around that time that I kind of switched. And after that, it was the best sort of philosophical change I had in my life. And I'm never going back to that. So to start thinking about money now would just be anathema. So.
I mean, I actually have just recently had a conversation with someone that I admire her very much. And I think highly of the way she thinks. And I've realized that a lot of times people talk to you from the perspective that money is the most and the only thing important to you. That not only do you have to change your mentality, but it doesn't change other people's perception of what you're expected to want. Not just you, but everyone, right? And so I say, some things I do are not necessarily specifically for money. I do some things that aren't as profitable as other things, but they're fulfilling, or it's what I think I should or want to do, or what makes me feel like I'm doing something that brings value, So, but it's interesting how people perceive, especially, I guess, because of our specialties, what it's all about the money,
People it's a convenient metric to assess success. It's a very convenient way to say this amount of money equates to this amount of success, or this amount of money equates to this amount of happiness. It's convenient, but that doesn't make it accurate or correct. So, and let's not make a mistake about it. Having money does afford you the ability to do more in life. Like I'm not, it's easier for me to have fun now than it was 10 years ago.
Right.
It's easier for me so I'm not going to dismiss that at all. So I'm not going to say money doesn't matter. I don't care. Of course we do. That's how we, we live in the real world. My point is it can't be the centerpiece. And the last thing I'll say about that is I have a friend of mine, maybe he'll watch this, but if he does, I'll tell him.
Is it Subio?
No. I can talk about him too, but no, this is a friend of mine who's a really brilliant guy, but he's always going from job to job because he's trying to find like the next big payoff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you don't have any passion for any of these things. What are you doing? Like, and it's been going on for years. And the thing that he has, like, he's a great actor and he's done acting. And I'm like, that's what you're passionate about. Do that. And it'll work out. Just do the thing but he keeps on like, it's hilarious. He's been in like every industry you can think of, like the most random things, thinking like that's going to be the quick million, or something like that. So,
although I do think two things about that. One is that doctors like a tangible measurement of success. Like we have been the ones that got the A's. We were the ones that got top of the class. We were the ones that got the 100. And so like we are almost indoctrinated to look for a number as a indicator of success. So that might be part of it. I'm sure that's part of it. But then there's that other thing that there is a joy in making money, right? So on the flip side of what we're talking about, your friend maybe could say, what I have fun doing is figuring out how to make money. Making money.
He's always stressed. He would say yes, but he's always stressed. It doesn't ever look like happiness to me. I would agree with you if he's like working problems, but he's like, it's every time I see him, he's like, I can't fucking get this right. I'm like, that's what I mean. So I agree with you. If it's like fun, if the journey is fun or the challenge is fun, great.
Because who's that guy from Berkshire Hathaway? Warren Buffett. Like yes. I feel like he's a geek that loves to see his numbers rising and doesn't even use the money. Like he lives in the same house. He doesn't have an extravagant lifestyle. I feel like
he's not even giving his fortune to his kids either.
Right. That's his monopoly game. That's it. Well, he thinks money destroys kids, like trust babies and stuff like that. But it's just funny because when I look at someone like that, I feel like they're just playing the money game for the sake of literally seeing the number as they're winning. Like,
well, the other thing that's weird too, I get it, and there's a game too. The other thing that's weird for like you and me is we're in a cash business. for a living, right? And we're in an industry that does have the perception of glamour and riches and all that stuff. So it's kind of, it introduces another layer of complexity of our relationship with money. The way I deal with that is I separate myself from it, and I have a team that handles that. And there are people that I trust who are there to maximize the financial success of what I do without me having to be too involved and therefore distracted from what I want to be, have my attention on. But it is, and also, like you said, the perception of a plastic surgeon or, you know, a celebrity dermatologist or whatever is always going to have certain things with it that you just sort of like shrug and like, yeah, okay.
So I totally agree with you. And I wanted to ask you about your mama, because you guys have such a cute relationship. Are you her favorite?
No, I don't think so. I think,
yes,
I mean,
you are. You know it. You're the doctor.
No. I think maybe there was a time, but I don't think I think right now my little brother has the favorite category right now because he just got married and he's having a baby now. So he's taking the mantle. So I'm like slowly kind of drifting to the background among the siblings. But I mean, my mom and I have a relationship. I'm a sarcastic person. I make fun of my mom constantly on social media, and she's game for it, and she'll give it back. So we have fun with it. And she's a Greek mom. I mean, if you know anything about Greek moms, like they live for their kids, and they will inject themselves into every problem that their kid has because they think they have the solution. They're going to take care of it for you. It doesn't matter if you're 45 or 15. Yeah,
I like that.
I believe you. So I mean,
I always think I can fix everything or prevent. Yeah. She probably goes crazy watching you jump out of airplanes. She's probably like, why would you do that to yourself?
She's better now though. She's gonna come. She comes with me now. When she's in LA and I go, she comes out with me and she's there. The first time she came, when I was in Wisconsin. No, but she's on the ground. But she, the first time she came one time when I started, and I was 18 years old. She came one time and she said, I looked up and you could see a dot. And she's like, I'm never coming back to this again. But 20 some years later, I got her to come back. So
that's good. So you're from Milwaukee.
Yes.
Milwaukee.
Which is like, just like LA, only exactly the opposite in every possible parameter you can come up with. Literally everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I went to this. They might be listening, but a friend of ours, they have a place out in Milwaukee, and they do something called Fallon Games every year, and they do like Jimmy Fallon themed games. It's a huge property with a soccer field, a river behind it, a lake, a house with a 2,000 square foot
it probably cost them like $500,000.
Yes, it cost them. I'm not that exact number, but like a fraction of what you'd pay for a piece of crapola.
I'm just trying to imagine you in Wisconsin. I think just trying to imagine you in Wisconsin, and that alone right now is entertainment. Just think the visual of this is pretty freaking hysterical.
The people liked me in Wisconsin.
I'm sure they loved
Milwaukee.
I'm sure they loved you. Probably yeah.
I said we should get a place out there. It's like,
listen, you know what's weird? So when I had this all wrong, and I don't know, I'm not sure where in your sort of career or training you got married, but I remember always thinking, so I trained on the East Coast in general surgery. My West Coast training was out, my plastics training was out West Coast. But I remember thinking, well, until I know where I want to live, I don't want to get married because I want to have the flexibility to live wherever I want, which was completely actually wrong, because the reality is if you're married, you can move anywhere as a couple. I could live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin if I was married. But as someone who's unmarried, I was basically confined to 2 or 3 cities in the country, because I'm not going to be, living in Milwaukee as an unmarried guy. But it just wasn't going to happen.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Well, because at some point, you spend some time in Milwaukee, you'll know. But no, nothing's wrong with that. It's just that. But no, it was like, I got it all wrong. And so I was doing these trainings in big cities that I was loving. And then when the time came that I was done, I was a certain age, I was like, shit, I can't be 35 or 40 and single in Milwaukee. It's weird. There's no place for you when you're that, because everyone's already married.
They get married really young.
Yeah, they get married. Even when I lived in Chicago, my friends were either married in the suburbs or they were young kids getting messed up in the club. And I'm like, okay, I don't fit in either one of these groups right now. It was weird. Even Chicago, big city, it still had that kind of Midwestern mentality. So,
but you're in California and now you're even getting old for California standards.
I know.
Your girlfriend should thank me for that.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting old. I am getting old. It's true. I got a birthday in 2 weeks too.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
We want to know how old you are. We want to know how old are you?
Oh, my age. So I'll be 45 in 2 weeks.
You're still in the running for someone that could get married without being like
I know
600 when you have babies.
That's the problem. I don't want to be an old dad because I'm like, and honestly, that's part of the reason like fitness
a little late.
As I'm getting older, fitness is more about like if I have kids, being able to be like active for my kids and less about like what I look like with my shirt off. That's how you know you're getting old. But
let's see, right now, if you date someone, you get serious, that's 2 years. Let's say 2 years, and then you're 47, and then let's say they're graduating. They're going to college when you're like
my dad
75.
My dad had my younger brother when he was my age right now.
Yeah.
So that gives me hope. I got some time. I got a little bit of time.
Okay. Like, listen, Mom, I'm trying. I am trying. Trying. You hear me? She's gonna send me flowers. Okay. Yeah. So you have like all this dimension. You have the East Coast. I'm sorry. You have the East Coast, yes, and then you also have the Midwest, and then you have the Southern California. What's your favorite?
Well, I chose to live here, so that means something. But okay, and no one's ever asked me quite like that. So I like the directness and authenticity of East Coast people. I think they're the most authentic of the three. I like the general kindness of Midwestern people and simple life mentality of Midwest. I love the lifestyle out here. Mm-hmm. So I love the lifestyle and the opportunity to do things. And I think this place is more diverse. I lived in New York, Chicago, and here's more diverse. New York, yes. So New York has diversity, but not, this has diversity that exceeds every other place. There's something for everyone in LA. You've got surfer bums, finance guys, entertainment people, medical people, everything. New York is kind of dominated by business, marketing, finance. Chicago's, everyone's the same in Chicago. It's a great city, but like you go out in Chicago and you see 100 guys, they look exactly, it's like everyone's the same, just clones running around. But
I did live in the Midwest for a while. I lived in Minnesota, and I noticed that there is a lot of commonality. Like people like to all go to their lake house at the same time. Like our neighborhood would be empty.
Population. Yes.
Yeah, and if you did something different, that was upsetting. Like people didn't really like you to do different things. And in fact, as an insult, they would say that's different.
Right.
That was not a compliment.
Oh, I remember when I moved to Chicago from LA, and I had a party in my place because I had friends in Chicago and some people I had just met the first time. And I hadn't had a chance to get ready. I was wearing a t-shirt. And so when people started getting, I'm like, oh, hold on. And I went to my room, cleaned up really quick, put on a different t-shirt. That's all I did. And they came out, and this girl's like, oh, that's so LA. And I'm like, I'm from Wisconsin. Like, what do you mean that's because I lived in LA for 3 years at the time? This was like right after I finished at UCLA. There is like this antagonism to like.
Right. But there's an antagonism, but there's also some kind of like, starstruckness don't you think they kind of like admire also, or have a lot of preconceived notions about people that are in California, like that there's celebrities on every corner, and like there's like a perception about it that it is also that it's more dynamic and exciting than it is maybe.
But what I found, like the reality is, and maybe it's because of what we do, like we have a lot of interaction with celebrities out here.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's not, whether it's in our offices or on the streets, like it does happen to the point that we get desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Whereas like my siblings, if they see, even my brother's living in New York, if he sees a celebrity, he sends me a picture, even though New York is not too dissimilar from here. Whereas it does become kind of a normal thing for us, you know, but not a big deal. And that part of it, I think people are a little bit enamored with. I think I give the analogy to people, like when you're in LA, it's like living in a house and there's next door, if you're not in entertainment, you live in a house and next door is a big party and everyone's at this party and you can see them. They're right there. You can wave to them, you can see them, but you're not invited to that party.
Right.
That's what living in LA is like in terms of the entertainment industry. Right there, we see it. It's always there, but we're not really a part of it or invited.
Right.
So
you're just outside that glass wall. You're exactly right. That's a perfect way to describe it. So
right there.
But there is a little bit of that in the Midwest. Being someone that grew up in California and having lived in the Midwest, everybody seemed to be fascinated by me and nice, very nice, but not to let you in because they have all their friends still from high school.
Yes,
they don't
there's an
really
expression for
let
that.
you into their
Yeah,
life in any real way. They always have that glass wall. Like,
I got a
oh,
great
she's a
analogy
cool,
for that.
interesting
Yeah,
person, but
they would say, they will give you directions to anywhere you need to go
right,
except where they're going. Like
exactly.
that's like, that was the way I would think about it. So
It's true. It's true. So I know you do a lot of body work,
yes,
and I'm always fascinated. I love that you do this body contouring. One day I want to do it on myself. I'm sure every woman that talks to you says that, right?
I already
But I
told you,
mean,
you're already the after picture.
you already
So
told me what? Oh,
you're already the after picture. There's nothing to do. I'd be stealing your money.
so bottom line is, do you think your definition, your perception of beauty changes when you're someone who can change the way someone looks?
I mean, I'm sure you get this a lot. What I tell people is this: when I'm at work, I have a different lens on. There's a switch that's on
Mm-hmm.
when I'm at work. And the reason it's on at work is because everyone I'm seeing there is coming to me for guidance or my opinion or what I would do. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm not at work, that's off. I'm not looking at people, like, unless you ask me. If I see a woman and she all of a sudden turns it into a consult and says, what would you, I don't look at people differently because of that. So it hasn't really changed in my real life, my perception of beauty from what it was before, unless someone turns that on. You know what I'm saying? It's too
Yeah,
exhausting
I
for me to think about, like, if I walk out and everyone I look at, I'm like, I would do this, I would do this, I would do this, and whatever.
I do that.
I mean, I get
Everyone
it.
I see,
I fight the urge.
I can't help but like go, oh, ooh, I can do this. Look at that. I see this happening. But it's not
Yeah.
like out of criticism. It's more like my automatic
A
like
clinical
way.
curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah, I just am that way. And then, but my question to you maybe is a little different that way you're answering. I'm not saying do you look at people and think what you could change, but do you look for a different thing in a person because you know that some of these things are modifiable and maybe that's not
I really don't.
um
Yeah, no, I really don't. I think, and the reason I can say that is I can say that I don't think what I have found attractive has changed since I was a 25-year-old. Like, I think that I'm still, for me, attraction is very innate. I think it's something
a
wired into
smell.
our, it sort of is. It's just something,
It
I don't
is,
think
isn't
we
it?
can't
It's
control
so
attraction,
true.
or who we find attractive is something
Yeah.
completely subconscious. We can't control it. And so for me, I don't think it changes. I think it's wired into the things that kind of turn me on or don't change because of my career.
Okay.
I don't think.
I always ask that for people that do cosmetic surgery because I feel like what I'm looking for, and I'm not, and you don't want to lead the witness, is that are you looking for something deeper because you know that some of the surface things are maybe modifiable and it's not
Yeah.
the only be there, the end all be all anymore because you know
Right.
that there's certain things that could be enhanced and that's not what it's about because every
I
day you
think
see
that
people.
no, I agree. That's a good point. I think that has happened. My mentality has shifted that way, but I think that's just as I've gotten older and what you realize more and more what's more important and what's less important.
Right.
So I think,
Personality, character, all
yeah,
that
like who I
stuff.
can
Yeah.
do nothing with, especially as I've gotten older and more boring, where I just need to be able to sit and do nothing with someone. And if that doesn't work, then it's true.
You
I'm
just
so freaking boring.
you just
Like I am.
contradicted yourself because you said earlier you don't like to sit around. We already
Listen,
know.
I'm talking about like when I'm exhausted from whatever I'm
Right.
doing. I come home and I just need to veg, like recover, whatever. If I can't have that kind of a time with someone, which has nothing to do with what they look like, then we're not
Right.
going to work, you know? So,
That makes sense. So what is your definition of beauty?
these are going to invite the corniest answers, but I really mean
Go
it.
ahead. I love corny answers. I'm corny too. I don't know if you know that about me. I do
So
a daily quote every day.
I think beauty for me, like on a level, beauty is very, very closely linked to confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find. That to me, they're the closest relatives that you can be. And that's why I think people misunderstand what we do for a living, because we actually don't deal in beauty. That's the perception of what we do, but what we deal actually in is confidence, but they're very close. Right. Because, and so to me, like if I walk into a place and I see someone having a good time and smiling, I will notice that woman way before a supermodel who's sitting there with a glum look. I won't look twice at that person. And so it's that kind of like, for me, that's what beauty is sort of of a confidence and security in yourself. I think when you wander into like the physical attributes of what turns you on, that's not really beauty. That you're kind of veering into like what's lust and what's, what drives you sort of physically. So for me, the beauty stuff is not really it's more the energy. I hate when people say energy in California, but it is that sort of like quiet confidence, or the way that they just sort of exude their, living their life and living confidently and living happily.
You were saying that confidence is tied to beauty, and I feel like that answer I get all the time. And I definitely agree with you that my job is to make people feel confident, in the sense that, let's say it takes away one thing that is diminishing your confidence and letting you like really be out there in the world, confidently talking to people and being animated. And so I agree that it's not really the exact detail of what you did or what, you do procedure wise on someone, but what it results in as far as them exuding that sort of confidence, smile, whatever.
Well, I think it's also, for me, beauty is also very intimately intertwined with how you live your life. So, which is a very all-encompassing thing to say, but I think it goes from everything from how you treat other people, how you carry yourself. There's so many attributes to how you live your life, how you make use of your time, how you make the most of your life. Like all of those things are things I notice. And it doesn't mean that someone has to be like a crazy extrovert. I'm not saying that, but it's just, but there's ways that people can take on life in their own way that I can find beautiful,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's corny.
Agree. I love it. So you don't have one unified, I guess you kind of tie beauty to confidence, which is an amazing.
I know it's hokey, but to me, it's an easy answer, but that's just for what we do. It just always resonates with me. And that's really what it is. Like it's tied to how people carry themselves and live their life. Like it's not,
I mean, we can give examples. Like patients will come in and they'll say, there's something about one aspect of the way they look that they want to fix, or multiple aspects, but they come in with a big blustery smile and they sit at the on the exam table, and they greet you, and they have this energy they bring to the table, literally, and then they say this or this, can you fix this fucking thing, blah blah blah, whatever. But their whole energy is beautiful, right? Their whole energy is connecting with you. And then you have the sort of like person with the mirror, that they brought their own mirror, and not that I'm telling you guys not to bring your own mirror. That's okay if you do, but I'm just saying that sort of detail of every little thing that they think, if this one little thing that they can find in their magnifying mirror is changed, that's going to change things for them. And it's not about that one little thing. It's about that whole person that walks in and how you walk into life, like in every aspect, wherever you walk into, how you bring your energy into the life. And I do believe in energy.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I don't. I just like, then you wander to like crystals and freaking all kinds of whatever. So
my whole office is full of crystals.
I'm sure they do a wonderful job of clearing whatever that crystals are supposed to do. But hold on. So I had this amazing thing happen last year.
I have an itch.
Oh, I think you missed it. It's over on this side.
It's like here.
But I had this crazy thing happen last year, which was like, so I saw a patient. She was a single mom, and we did like one of these body transformations. And a few months after that, a friend of mine was having a Halloween party in Palos Verdes, and I was like, Palos Verdes, I'm not going to drive. I'm like, fine, you know what? I haven't seen this friend in a while. I'm going to go. I drove my ass down there, and I'm at this party, and people are dressed like Halloween. And I see this woman walk up to me. She's wearing like a Britney Spears, like some sexy kind of costume, and she's walking up to me with a man next to her, and she gets this far away from me, and I realized it was that patient, that single mom from a few months ago.
Huh.
And she was like a different human being. Like this outfit she was wearing. I mean, when I met her, it was just like, I hate whatever. And she's like, and when you see a patient of yours in public, you don't say anything. Well, she came over, she's like, Dr. Galanis, oh my God, thank you so much. Look, and the boyfriend's like, thanks, doc. She looks great. And I'm just like, and I was just like, it was a real life, alive example of what the stuff you can't see in a before and after picture. Right. It was a real life example of that beauty as confidence kind of thing. Because she's the same person, but it was just the way she was living all of a sudden.
Unleashed, like she was unleashed. I tell you what, one of the things that I've struggled with on social media to express, and I've always thought we could do much better, is to, let's say, do the before picture, but instead of a deadpan after picture, like you guys are doing it too, like selfies, like people take selfies or they're out and about, they're enjoying
Yes.
whatever you did
Yes.
for them, and they
Yeah.
have themselves fully unleashed in whatever situation they're in, feeling
100%.
great.
Yeah, that
So,
before and after is way more compelling for people. I know that those always perform better for us, truly, because people see it as like they're sending you this picture, but just them sending you a picture is testament to how they feel, right? Versus some sterile before and after in the office. So 100%, totally agree with that.
True. That's true. So, how did you choose plastic surgery? Did you go through medical school and were you thinking you might be something else, or did you just
Yeah,
know right away?
No, I did a general surgery at Johns Hopkins because I thought I wanted to be a surgical oncologist. And it was
Wow.
sort of a gradual transformation. So I
That's
was,
a switch.
yeah, it was. And it was not very popular among my faculty at Hopkins either. But what happened was that like I found, so there's a lot of different things, a lot of different reasons. So from the practical side, I hate insurance. So I love the fact that I don't have to deal with insurance companies or hospital systems. I love the fact that I can be a business owner and run a business and create a work environment that I want to create rather than be pulled into someone else's rules. That's that part. But during residency, what I found is I loved the creativity and the diversity of plastic surgery was kind of unmatched because, you know, and I still, you know, general surgery is my first love affair. And I loved being kind of that, what I thought was more of a complete physician, but I felt like people would get pigeonholed a little bit. And I just felt like it didn't have that creative thought as much involved in it, which I like. And I also like the challenge of the fact that my work is exposed. If I'm doing a colon resection, then I close an incision over it. You don't see what I did.
Mm-hmm.
All the work I do now, it's like it commands a level of sort of meticulousness and challenge because it's not hidden. Not only is it not hidden, they're going to be staring at it to critique it when they come back. So that challenge was appealing to me. And so those were kind of the things that started it. And also I just saw it as an area that had a lot more breadth of opportunity, really, just a lot of different directions you could go with it. Mm-hmm. So that was mostly how the trajectory worked. And then I just like putting things back together more than I like taking them apart. So,
yeah. Do you find yourself at odds with different specialties, or do you kind of, I see certain plastic surgeons that have like a whole narrative about fillers, and I'm going to have him on my podcast, the one that I personally know of. And the issue with me is I never say I'm going to do these non-invasive procedures to the exclusion of you ever needing a plastic surgery procedure. So my personal feeling is there are a lot of things that you can do to look amazing along the way. And one day you'll wake up and you'll say, I'm going to get surgery. Or some people never do, but I don't think we are competing with each other to an extent. I feel we fill different needs. And I find it ironic that a lot of plastic surgeons will say like fillers and non-invasive doesn't work, but then they'll have a whole spa where they have nurses working for them doing non-invasive. So I don't get it.
There's a whole lot of bullshit politics and insecurity. My feeling is this: look, there are people that use fillers too much, but there's also people that do shitty plastic surgery. So there's evil in both. I don't think that anyone is right and the other is wrong. And I agree with you. I think there's roles for all of these things. And you know, I tend to kind of stay in my own lane and not get too involved in that stuff. I just sort of, you know, I don't really look at other people's work anymore. I don't compare myself to I don't police what someone else is doing. You know, I'll notice if someone is maybe spreading misinformation. That's unfortunate, but there's not much I can do about that either, you know, and maybe I'll from time to time say something about that. But no, I don't really believe in turf wars. I think there's enough to go around, especially in this community. I don't believe in my slice of the pie. I think we should make the pie bigger and everyone gets theirs.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many people that want to get cosmetic treatments of various types in every part of the country, but especially California. In fact, I mean, we've only scratched the surface. It's becoming more and more mainstream. So to me, it's interesting. And this person that I'm about to interview, I should say his name, but I won't.
Come on, you can edit it.
He's Ben Tele.
Oh, Ben, yeah.
He's a friend of mine, but he does all these like filler bashing videos. And I say, like, first of all, you have an injector in your office.
Yeah.
Second of all, you have videos of you getting injected. There's obviously good work and bad work on all sides.
That's what it is.
And
I think when they're bashing the bad work. That's what they're doing. They're bashing the bad work or which exists. But guess what? There's shitty plastic surgery. There are people that are doing unnecessary surgeries or over the top surgeries, and they're equally guilty or,
there's over the top surgeries, and sometimes driven by the patient themselves. There's overdone filler, but there's also overdone surgeries, like 3, 4, 5 surgeries in the same spot. So I'm like, you can't really narrow it down, or you can't generalize it. Let's put it that way. So everything's different. So
I see surgeons doing that, I don't believe, the good ones anyway, I think that they're maybe going over the top if they're condemning all fillers or all injectables. That's silly. That's wrong. But I think their goal is what they're targeting are the overdone, the overfilled. Just as you could go on and say, like, why did this person have, lipo when they shouldn't have had lipo? Now they got all these irregularities. They were too thin before, and we're trying to fix these with, non-invasives and whatever. So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. And ultimately, when you refer to some of these guys, the patients can't even get in for like months and months to a year. And I'm like, why do you need to do that? You're so successful. You can't even get an appointment with you.
I stay away from
that. You're not suffering from a lack of patience.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've never been tempted to go after someone who does fillers. There are if anything, I've only been tempted to go after other surgeons who I think are full of shit. Like that, I'd feel more like engaged with, because there are, social media has brought out some good, but it's really brought out some super questionable things ethically in terms of what people are saying about surgery or what they think they can do, or trademarking some bullshit when they're just doing what everyone does with
what everybody else does.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, my trademark. No, it's not trademark, and it's not that impressive. Like, just the self-promotion can get nauseating. So some of these guys, I'm kind of like, I really tempted sometimes to like start a troll account and go to town, but I'm like, not worth it. It's fine. Let them do their thing. Good luck to them.
No, you've got more important things to do, but it's just funny. I think it's funny. Okay, so what is your favorite inspirational quote?
Oh man. Okay, I'm on one lately, but they change all the time. Can I give you the one I have to know?
Sure.
Okay. I'm not a religious person, but I did go to a Jesuit high school, and I switched to study the Bible. I think the Bible's a great book. It's a great self-help book, and it's a great inspirational book, even if you don't believe in the stories. It really is. There's great stories in the Bible. So there's a particular Bible verse that I love, that I've always loved. It's Isaiah chapter 6. And let me explain why before you think I'm Bible thumping. After I say it, I'll tell you why. But the quote is, and then I heard the voice of the Lord who said, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, here am I, send me. And the reason I've always loved that quote is because for me, it's the perfect distillation of a belief in a higher power, but not at the expense of your personal initiative and passion. So to me, it's something about taking responsibility for your life, stepping up, doing your part, but still believing in something greater than yourself. Maybe a calling, whatever you want, whether it's energies or crystals or someone with a beard in the sky, whatever it is. And so for me, it's inspirational because it unites for me, because I do believe in a higher power, but I also believe in my ability to determine my own destiny. So I love that quote for that reason.
Say it again. Say it again.
Okay, so it says, and then I heard the voice of the Lord, and he said, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, here am I, send me. And so it's kind of that idea of like, there's an opportunity, but you have to seize it. A higher power can lay out a path for you, but they're not going to choose it for you.
But you have to take it, and you have to do the work, and
do the work.
Because there is I also grew up in a parochial school, so we had religion every day. So but I didn't remember that one. But the thing about it is that now there's the law of attraction and things like that, and we talk about that a lot, and I do believe in it. But I think a lot of people interpret that as just think of what you want and lay there and it will arrive, I don't fully believe that. I do believe that if you think great things are coming your way, and you have in your heart things that you are guiding yourself towards, that guides your action. Not
100%.
not that you don't just do anything and then it
There.
all
I
just
think we're-
arrives one day at your doorstep.
Don't you think we're kind of like in this age of entitlement? Like, don't you feel like we're in, like, and I'll tell you, social media is where I see
A
it.
lot.
And here's a question I have for you, because maybe I am getting old, because now there's a generation that grew up on this. But I'll get DMs or Adele will show me DMs of people saying like, hey, I'm interested in this, call me.
Yeah,
And I'm like, the fuck? What? Let me drop everything. Let me get out of surgery and give you a call right now and find out what it is that you need. And it's just like, the idea of me when I was younger, reaching out directly, who I thought was directly the surgeon, and telling them to call me because I wanted something is completely absurd, right?
Yeah,
But I have to step back, because look, this is the world that some of these people grew up with, this instant, like, I can get what I want just hitting this button. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the new normal and I just have to accept it. I don't know. It's crazy.
There's the button aspect, and then there's the aspect of a more sort of, there isn't that elevated respect. It's all equal, like everything equal. And I remember my son was going to do an internship, and we had the most unbelievable opportunity with someone, and I overheard him on the phone saying to the guy that, oh, he can have a call between this hour and this hour. He's got play practice at this hour and something else. I go, excuse me, you are going to talk to him when he has time for you. You need an internship. He is the owner of this company. You will go on his terms.
Mom of the year.
You're telling him your schedule?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
That's kind of like this mentality now. It's kind of weird. It's just sort of like.
But overall, generally, the kid is not an entitled kid. He's a very nice kid. So that leads me to think that it's just this.
That's what I'm saying. We're in this age where, and I truly think it is connected to social media and instant gratification. I think instant gratification and entitlement are closely linked. And I just think it's just this idea that things are at our fingertips, and of course we should get them.
I mean, it's not just social media. It's DoorDash. It's everything. Everything can happen instantly. Everything you want, you can instantly buy on Amazon. You can instantly get everything. So you just think I should get everything instantly. But one of the things I tell my doctors when I'm doing a talk at California Facial Plastic Surgery meeting in Tahoe. Are you going to that?
I don't think so. No. When is that?
It's end of February.
So it's still snowboarding
February.
season.
Rob's going to be like, I can't put this in. It's end of February.
I love snowboarding.
Bottom line is I tell them DMs are leads. So not you, but someone in your office should definitely take them as leads, because I think doctors over a certain age don't realize that is a form of making an appointment. Yeah. So I tell them, like, not you, but someone else can, call them, or you can send them an automated thing saying, call us. But
we do that. It's just something I observe is like, it's like
really?
I have this ongoing thing on my social media, because a question I get a lot randomly, there'll be no context, no pretext, nothing. It'll just be a DM that says, how much is surgery? That's all it does.
I get that
all the time. I get all the time. It's hysterical. And so I finally put it up one day, and I'm like, I don't understand this. It's like me calling a restaurant and saying, how much is food?
Yeah.
Or just not even a restaurant, just asking someone how much is, like, it's the most, I don't understand.